We now return to How David Lynch Stole Christmas.
Hello, I got you a present. It's a thumb.
Huh?
Don't look away. Let the fear wash over you.
I don't understand.
That's the whole point. Now, did you leave a plate of black coffee out for me?
No?
In the future, please leave a plate of black coffee out for me. Also in the past.
Hi, Vincent.
Hello, Craig.
How are you today?
I'm blissful. I feel free.
Blissful.
How are you?
Yeah, that's very ethereal. I'm feeling okay. So, yesterday there was something interesting happening on online. Don't know if you caught this, but the absolute cesspool of a website, Reddit.com, had an Ask Me Anything, or AMA, if you will, featuring someone that we know, Mr. Kyle MacLachlan.
Ooh!
This was on the Dune subreddit, which is, I think, probably the only David Lynch film I haven't actually seen and don't really have any interest in. So, but I did have an opportunity to ask Mr. MacLachlan a question. My question is, I'll read my question out here. Kia ora from beautiful Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm a long-time fan and TP podcast host, and appreciate you taking the time to chat to us all. A couple of quick questions for you, sir. 1. Have you ever been to New Zealand? 2. Have you ever watched Neon Genesis Evangelion? Thanks again, and all the best for your current and upcoming projects.
First question is not as important as the second, sir.
And I actually have an audio recording of Mr. MacLachlan's response, which I will now play. Yeah, so Kyle was not gracious enough to answer these questions for us, and while one could perhaps put it down to the fact that I asked 2 questions and not one, and maybe whatever social media intern he was working with sort of got the instruction to only answer stuff that had 1 question. I want to ask you though, Vinny, what do you think about these questions offended or was too controversial for Kyle to answer? Does he hate New Zealand?
I think he was probably looking to vacation one day after finishing a film. He's like, I should look up places. I haven't been across the world. Australia or New Zealand? New Zealand seems small and quiet. Let me look up some stuff about it. Sheep fuckers? No!
And they're all anime fans down there, judging by the second part of that question. So no, Kyle, if you are listening, please do email us. Our email is tp_e@gmail.com. Or you can look us up on Instagram. I know you're big on Instagram, Mr. MacLachlan. Our Instagram handle is tp:_e podcast. So yeah, hit us up. And, you don't have to answer both of the questions, but, I am keen to know if you've seen NGE. And, because New Zealanders are precious about this kind of thing, I would like to know if you've ever been here and what you thought of it. I do wish you all the very best for your current and upcoming projects, though. That's for real. And I am a long-time fan.
Like Joe versus Carol on Peacock.
Peacock executives, if you're listening, we can be bought in the form of sponsorship. Hit us up at the email address that I've just listed. While we're talking about social media stuff, though, I've been meaning to do this for the last couple of episodes, and I keep forgetting. But I uploaded all of our episodes to YouTube recently, so that those weirdos that listen to podcasts on YouTube can also find our podcast on there. And shout out to anyone who is listening right now on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up or something. I don't know what you do on YouTube.
Yeah, the dislike button is gone, so you can't dislike us, so might as well thumbs up us.
Exactly. Give us that thumbs up. We crave the little dopamine hit there. But we did get a really cool comment a little while ago on I think on our Fire Walk With Me episode. This is from a user that goes by the name Felix Ikari, so clearly an Evangelion fan. And their comment reads, "This is the most random and peculiar podcast I've ever seen. I don't know how I got here, and I don't even understand what you're talking about because I'm Brazilian, and my English is pretty basic. But you got a subscriber. Success there, friends." So I just want to give a massive shout out, a massive obrigado to Mr. Ikari, the president of our Brazilian fan club. Yeah, hope you're listening, Felix. Hope you keep listening, and hit us up. Send us an email. That doesn't just go for Felix. Anyone, feel free to send us an email, drop us a comment, flick us an Instagram comment or whatever. We'd love to hear from you.
Even if it's in Portuguese, we have Google Translate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can work with that. I have spent a little bit of time in Brazil. Have you ever been to Brazil?
I have not.
I've got a very funny story about Brazil, which I'm not going to tell. I'm just going to tease you with that. But no, it's a beautiful place. I loved it a lot. With that out of the way, what our last episode, we cast a fantasy version of a live-action Evangelion film with Twin Peaks actors. This current episode was born out of a similar idea, but I think shows just how far kind of off the rails we're hurtling at the moment. Vinny, what are we doing today?
So, to go even nicher, we are looking at the acting roles of the two directors that this podcast is about. Hideaki Anno's performance in The Wind Rises, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and David Lynch's recurring role as Gus in The Cleveland Show.
Yes, absolutely. So, like I was saying to Vinny off pod, we have the whole scope and an absolute titan of the animation industry, a late period masterpiece from them, and also a film by an old Japanese dude.
Oh, I saw that coming a mile away, but I still love it.
What's your relationship with Miyazaki films and Studio Ghibli films, Vinny?
So I imagine my relationship is probably similar to a lot of millennial anime fans in the US, where for Toonami, the Toonami action block on Cartoon Network was like our first foray into anime. It was immediately after school, and it would just be like, cartoons from the East coming to America for the first time. And one year they had a month of Miyazaki where during the weekend they would air a Miyazaki film. So it started with Nazca and the Valley of the Wind and ended it with Spirited Away. I believe Porco Rosso and Kiki's Delivery Service were the other two. And those were a lot of like American anime fans, kids specifically, their first foray into Miyazaki. And I love all those movies. I haven't seen Nausicaa since then, but that's interestingly enough the first time Miyazaki and Anno ever collabed. Anno was an animation director on that, specifically on a sequence that involved a huge explosion that had to be hand done because it was the 80s, and they're like, we need someone crazy and new. And then Miyazaki met this new up and coming animator Anno and said, you want to do it? I'll work with you forever if you can do this. He's like, all right.
Cool. I've just been getting into Ghibli films with the kids. We've watched Totoro was our first one, and My Neighbor Totoro is such a good film, is it not?
It's a masterpiece.
I think it's so sweet and it's so wholesome. It looks beautiful. Yeah, I love it, man. And the kids love it as well. It's their favorite one. We've also seen Kiki's Delivery Service a couple of times. They really, really like that one. They really like Gigi from the little black cat from that. He's hilarious. We watched Spirited Away as well. I thought it might have been a little bit scary for them, but they really dug it. We watched, it's not Miyazaki, but we watched The Cat Returns as well, which they weren't into as much. But big fans of Totoro in particular. Yeah, love it. So we did watch The Wind Rises, and perhaps in probably the most... I mean, we're pretty half-assed on this podcast. We don't put a ton of work in, let's be real. But in perhaps the most half-assed thing we've ever done, we didn't actually watch much of the Cleveland Show. What we did watch was an 8-minute YouTube video called David Lynch on the Cleveland Show, which was uploaded in 2018 by the channel Barefoot and Independent, which is just basically every clip of his performance every time he's on screen throughout the 4 series of that show. And, we're going to be talking about it for a little while. Where do you want to start, Vinny? Which one do we want to start with? Do we want to start with Anno in The Wind Rises, or do we want to start with David Lynch's bizarre turn as Gus the bartender.
Let's start with Gus, because let me tell you. So, ladies and gentlemen, on Hulu we have the Cleveland show. So I'm like, okay, I'll just start watching it and see until he shows up, because Gus is like the owner of the bar that like the central characters like go to. So you figure, oh, he's gonna show up sooner or later. I got 6 episodes in and didn't see him yet, so I'm like, screw this.
Oh, really?
Because there are episodes where they're just sitting at the bar talking, yet no owner or bartender is there. I'm like, well,
what?
How? What? How?
And it's this. Okay, all right. I watched the YouTube video, but I also did just dial up one episode, and I looked at the Gus page on, I think, the Cleveland Show wiki or whatever, just to kind of see if there was any particular episodes where he had more screen time than anything else. And started with, and I watched one episode from the first season. It's called "The Curious Case of Junior Working at the Stall," which, the broken stall, I think, is the name of his bar. And I hadn't seen the Cleveland Show before. I had no idea what any of the context was. I didn't know what the hell was going on. There's these bizarre sequences. One thing that reminded me of Evangelion, actually, is that the show does feature an anthropomorphic animal that drinks a lot of beer.
Yeah. You're right.
I'm talking, of course, about the grizzly bear that wears a shirt and tie and no pants. Which the no pants thing was actually a plot point in this episode. Strangely. Can I just go on a quick tangent, Vinny?
Yes, please. No, Craig, stay on topic. God, I hate when you do this.
No tangents. With your American accent, how do you pronounce the name of the animal spelt B-E-A-R?
Bear.
And how do you pronounce the alcoholic liquid spelt B-E-E-R?
Beer.
Okay. Because my wife is infuriated with the fact that the way that I say beer and beer sounds exactly the same. So often I'll do it just to annoy her. I'll say, I saw a bear-ass naked grizzly bear, guzzling a can of beer down the street the other day. Drives him nuts. Cool. Anyway, Gus. What can we say about Gus?
It's literally just a drawing of David Lynch.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it is. And, I mean, Lynch has quite a distinctive voice. Like, just watching all the disconnected clips of him, so it's just him talking, one clip after another kind of thing. He does emote kind of a little bit, but he doesn't have, like, a massive range.
He's either yelling or shameful.
Yeah. I mean, there's some clips where he's kind of like, showing excitement. He's kind of laughing in this real stilted way. Or there's one clip, I don't know what was happening, but the kid had to carry him up the stairs, and he's just going, "Wee, this is wonderful!" Like, but he just has this, like, the same tone for pretty much anything he says. So it sounds like Gordon Cole.
It does.
With the volume turned down. Yeah, I mean, that's what else can you kind of say about it, really?
But also, there was this one part where he's like directing like a horror movie, and there's this woman, and he's yelling, directing, "Run! You don't want me to catch you!"
No, that was his. I think there was an exercise video that he made. So his whole exercise regime is that he chases after you, and I don't know what to. I mean, looking at these clips in isolation, Gus seems like a very unhinged character. I mean, from what I can tell, he sleeps in a mausoleum.
Yeah, he got up to get the paper outside of his mausoleum.
Yeah, he looks like might have been a Halloween episode or something, but he like takes the foot off a corpse in the graveyard and then slices it make it into a turkey sandwich, which he serves at his bar. What else does he do? He keeps llamas, apparently.
Yeah. Which is probably a callback to Twin Peaks when that one llama looks at Cooper.
Yeah, maybe. What else does he do? He goes to the laundromat and dry cleans his skin? Like, what the fuck? And then talks about how he saw Eric Clapton.
Oh, yeah. Eric Clapton. Oh, that's so good.
I mean, I haven't been a fan of Seth MacFarlane's nonsense for, since I was about 16. But yeah, no, this show just looks unhinged. And like the episode that I saw, which I think came out in 2009 or something like that, it was really icky, some of it. Like, I can't remember exactly what happened, but like one of the characters sort of made a reference to how his uncle was a pedophile, and then, just this really gross joke about that. And then there was this weird scene where someone was talking about a microfiche, or they were at the library or something, and there was, they were talking about the microfiche, and then it pans over to this dude who's like looking at a microfiche. He's got his pants around his ankle, and he just sort of turns around and does a thumbs up. I'm like, what? I'm sure it's a callback to something, but I don't know. It was weird.
Back in my day, we had overly long fights with a man in a chicken suit. But like, how does Seth MacFarlane do it? He gets random people to be regulars on shows. Patrick Stewart is a regular character on American Dad. How does he do it?
Adam West was, a recurring role in Family Guy.
Carrie Fisher was as well.
Yeah. Maybe just tells him that story about how he nearly died in 9/11. You hear this?
Yeah, he missed the flight.
Yeah, he was hungover and missed the flight, which ended up being the one that crashed into the Pentagon, or one of them anyway, or one of the towers. Can't remember. What I want to ask you though, Vinny, is David Lynch's last film, Inland Empire, came out in 2006. Mm-hmm. He was making some short films and stuff in the meantime, but I wonder if he had a bad agent around sort of the turn of the 2010s, because he was in this. He had a recurring role on the cursed Louis C.K. show, Louis. Yeah, he's actually really good in that. If you want to look that up on YouTube, he was. I think the story arc was that Louis was being offered a role as like a late night talk show host or something like that, and Lynch was kind of like the studio executive, he's very good in that role. But he was also offered and declined to do the role of Bill Cipher on Gravity Falls. Were you a Gravity Falls fan?
I saw it I haven't rewatched it. I saw it, week to week, probably halfway through season 1. I heard how good it was, so then I caught up and then watched week to week until the end. But he could have been Bill Cipher. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Alex Hirsch, the guy behind Gravity Falls, was, he wanted him for the role, and, reached out to him, and basically, Lynch just kind of turned him down. And so I think he ended up voicing the character and basically doing a David Lynch impression, is what he sort of said. So I actually watched Gravity Falls with the kids as well, just recently, because I'd never seen it. And, I had heard it was really good. And yeah, it's awesome. Like the finale episode's fantastic.
See you next summer,
the best TV I've ever seen.
God.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I only found out recently that Kyle MacLachlan had a cameo in that role. He played the bus driver, like right at the very end.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I never knew that, but just found that out just recently. Yeah. So, look, I'm just scrubbing through the YouTube video with all the clips, and I don't know what the context of this is, but there's one scene where it looks like a montage of, I think, Cleveland and his partner or something losing a costume contest throughout the years. Because there's one where Gus is dressed like a member of Cypress Hill or something. And then in the next clip, he looks like he's, from Duran Duran or something like that. Hey. And then it's like present day. Yeah. So, I don't know. But there's that. There's a scene where says the line, "Say, blood, where'd you get those bitches?" or something like that. Which is, I don't know what's happening there.
Oh yeah, there's another one where he's at like a lowrider show, and like they all got those hydraulics on their car, and his does that. He goes, "There are no hydraulics. It's just haunted."
Yeah, they're ghosts. Yeah, very funny.
I mean, it says a lot that you have this random reoccurring role for David Lynch on the one Seth MacFarlane show that got canceled.
Yeah. He did appear in a Family Guy episode, a cutaway gag, how David Lynch stole Christmas. I don't know, man. Like, you know, I can't understand what motivated him to say yes to this.
I mean, maybe he's on the upswing because his next acting role is being in the next Spielberg movie.
Yes, that's right. He's going to be in the next Spielberg movie.
So hopefully some of that talent can
rub
rub on Spielberg because, God, you need it.
God, he's coming after Spielberg now. Fuck. Let's talk about... Let's drastically change gears. Let's talk about Hideaki Anno in The Wind Rises. What did you think of the film?
So I remember I saw this film when it came out because in the lead up to this film, it was Miyazaki's last film. And everyone's like, oh, what's it going to be like? Like, we just know that it's about airplanes. I'm the designer. What is it going to be like? So I saw it and I was like, oh, he made a biographical piece with some like cool little artistic way to show the world, but it was still a biography about a man who designed airplanes, and I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was really. It had much less of the fantastical elements than his previous works, but again, just what can you say about a Miyazaki film? It looks beautiful, amazing music, just great world building. It seemed weird when you told me that Hideaki Anno was, basically given the role of voicing this. So it struck me as a weird kind of decision. But I gotta say, man, the first thing that struck me about Anno's performance in this is just what a strong command of the English language he has. Like he's speaking English fluently, and he sounds just like that guy from 500 Days of Summer. Yeah, he all the cast does speak in English, which is weird for a Japanese production. But him especially, I think his performance in that was really good. And it was really interesting because I'd seen a few interviews with him and stuff where it seems like he couldn't really speak English that well. So just to see him turn out that performance was in English was really good. Sorry, I can't keep this bit up.
I hate how long it takes me to realize what you're doing sometimes. I'm like, I guess he does say a few things in English. I'm like, oh, wait.
No, I'm of course referring to the English dub, which was done by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The implication being that I had watched the dubbed version rather than the subtitled version, which was not the case. For real though, what did you think about Anno's performance and his vocal acting there? Because he's not an actor by trade or anything, is he?
No, I only know that he's done like commercials for like Japanese television, which like anyone should sign up for those because those are so freaking wacky. It's like who would say no to those? So as far as that's what I know him acting wise. But this, I think he's great because this character doesn't really have like a big like acting moment. It's just a man just going through his life, his struggles, and Anno gives a realistic portrayal of that, where this man, his hardships with like depression, which is very much something that Anno has faced with, or just his devotion.
Definitely in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, definitely in his wheelhouse. Or like the character's devotion to his craft, which is like, yeah, that's definitely Anno as well. So I think he is phenomenal in this, and I think it was sweet that Miyazaki would have his last film at the time be starring one of his best friends. Yeah.
There's a couple of famous clips in this. Of course, there's the very famous and funny clip of Anno in the recording booth and trying to say the word arigato, and Miyazaki's just like, "What are you doing? This is pathetic." And he's like, "Are you even Japanese?" He's like, "Yes, of course." And he's like, "No, you're not, you filthy foreigner." It's very funny. And he just turns to some other guy. He's like, "This is the guy that made Evangelion." It's so funny. But I caught another clip of, and I think it was from the documentary that came out around the making of this film. Another clip of basically Miyazaki deciding with Anno in the room that Anno was going to do the voice.
Yeah.
And it struck me as really interesting because Miyazaki was kind of saying like, I like how enigmatic your voice is. And then Anno sort of goes, "Oh, is that a compliment?" Which I thought was quite funny. But then Miyazaki sort of goes on to say that, all of the other people that have read for the role are all actors, and basically they all have the same line delivery, like it all sounds the same. And he says, Anno, your voice doesn't give away what you're thinking. I thought that was a really interesting kind of perspective to have in terms of how you would cast a voice talent.
It was also pretty much Miyazaki like, I'm sick of acting bullshit. You're real. You give me something real. All these actors and their bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen much of Miyazaki and Anno hanging out or doing stuff together, but it seems like Anno's real sort of passive.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay.
Like he's the introvert and the other guy's the extrovert.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's a really sweet story about how he got cast. Having said that, though, I do have some sort of reservations, and this might be a controversial take, but I don't know if his voice suits the design of the character, if that makes sense. Like his voice is kind of low and kind of gruff and kind of he was a much older man than the character was,
right.
But I don't know, it just didn't quite gel with the the fresh faced young man with Harry Potter glasses. It just felt a little bit off. Didn't quite vibe with it. I don't know, is that a shitty thing to say? Is that a lukewarm take? I don't know. It just didn't quite do it for me.
Craig, we're supposed to be fanboys of this shit. How dare you have legit criticism?
I liked the film a lot. I did. It was beautiful. The earthquake scene, like with that earthquake on the train,
So good.
It looked like it could have been lifted out of a Evangelion rebuild film.
Absolutely.
Like, the way that the city, like the way the ground sort of rose up and all that. Yeah, it looked like an angel attack, basically. Beautiful stuff. But I don't know. I think he did a fine job. I think there was just incongruity there between the way that the character looked and the vocal performance. Didn't quite gel for me. Yeah.
Can't believe you. I can't believe you.
Other than that, I don't have a whole lot more to say.
Are you the reason why Miyazaki's out of retirement and making another film just to please you?
Yeah, absolutely. So he is working on another film now, right? Yeah.
It's a CG one.
Do we know anything about it? Okay.
That's all we know.
Do we know anything about the story or anything?
Nope.
Okay, we only know it's in CG. Okay.
But I can, because Miyazaki I never believed he was gonna be in retirement, because like he has such like a good 5 years film. He's so constantly like on it, and I never believed for one second that this man who could do all this like masterpieces of animation can just be like, I'm done. I never believed it.
Yeah.
So I always figured he might pass in the middle of this film, but it's been a good bit since the Wind Rises. So it's like, if anything happens, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna get released, because you have to release Miyazaki's last film.
How old is he? Do we know?
Oh,
you don't need to look it up, but
too late. I'm doing it
for sure.
Here, listen.
No.
How old is Hayao Miyazaki? It just gave me his Wikipedia. 81.
81. Okay. Yes, he's getting on a bit. He looked good. The clips that I saw of him from the making of The Wind Rises, which I guess is 9 years ago now,
at this point.
No, I mean he looked sprightly. Is he a bit of a fuckwit? Is he a bit?
I love his interviews. He says some crazy shit. Him trashing newer anime directors, like, ugh, they need to go out and live out their lives. They can't just fantasize about drawing. You need to live a life before you make anime.
Was it him that sort of gave that infamous quote about how anime was a mistake? Was it him?
Yes, it was him, but that wasn't the quote. It was them summarizing his rant into anime was a mistake.
Which I'm not going to argue.
But after rewatching this, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that this was in between 3.33 and Thrice, because the entire opening of Thrice is just a love letter to Ghibli as a whole.
And having watched a few more Ghibli films, I can definitely see that, like those village scenes and stuff. It's just so very much a Ghibli thing. Well, I mean, do we have anything else to say? Anything else we can say about The Wind Rises or The Cleveland Show.
Now, if we were to switch them and with roles, where it's Lynch doing the dub of Wind Rises, oh my god, that would be so good. I need to get this plane smooth.
Oh, look, it's that Italian plane architect. I've forgotten the name.
It's that Italian plane architect, Monica Bellucci.
All right. Well, I think we could probably. I think we can make this a nice short episode then, eh? Yeah. Should we do that? Let's leave it there. Thanks again to Kyle MacLachlan for not answering my question. Thanks again to Felix Akari for flying the flag of Twin Peaks Evangelion down in sunny Brazil. I hope you're doing well. Thanks to Hideaki Anno for agreeing to voice this character in Miyazaki's film, and thanks David Lynch for I don't know, taking the right amount of mescaline to be able to say yes to your agent's offer to be on the fucking Cleveland Show. Do you have any music you want to put on the playlist, Vinny?
I was going to put Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas.
In that case, I'm going to put on Colors by Ice-T.
Colors.
Sweet. All right. Well, I guess, yeah, thank you, Vinny, for your time today, and I'll chat to you on the next one.
Goodbye and congratulations.
See ya.
I wanna see what different seasons look like on different planets. I'm way up in the stratosphere. I got a big